School Board meeting. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'd like to have a moment of silence for Mr. Richard Buzzy Bizzelli. Richard was a 7-year employee of the school district and passed away unexpectedly on Friday, November 23rd. So please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Colella? Here. Mr. Dowdell?
Here.
Mr. Drake?
Here.
Mr. McGuff?
Here.
Mr. McMasters?
Here.
Mr. St. Ledger?
Here.
Mr. Tomarello?
Present.
Mrs. White?
Here.
Mr. Zuko?
Thank you. The board met in executive session on November 13th and this evening, November 27th, to discuss matters of personnel, negotiations, student confidentiality, and real estate easement.
Approval of minutes. Recommend approval of the following meeting minutes for October 30th, regular board meeting, November 5th, Facilities Committee, November 5th, Education Committee, November 5th, Policy Committee, November 13th, Finance Committee, and November 15th, Intergovernmental Committee.
I'd like to make that motion.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. This evening we have several student features which will be presented by our athletic chairman, John St. Ledger. The first one is for our golf team.
Good evening, everyone. Coach Nonnenberg couldn't be here, so they asked me to make the announcements. So the first one is Andrew Reynolds. As a second-year letter winner, Andrew was the team leader and played in the team's #1 spot for the entire season. Andrew is one of the most consistent young golfers that I have had the privilege of working with. He has a tremendous work ethic and is committed to improving his golf game. Andrew advanced to the WPIAL finals held at Fox Chapel Golf Club, where he posted a score of 81, but was unable to advance to the PIAA regionals. Andrew has a bright future in golf, and Coach Nonnenberg wishes him the best in the future for his endeavors. Andrew? Okay. The second is Samantha Shoemaker. As a freshman, Samantha was an important part of the team's success this past year. As you can imagine, a girl playing on a boys' team can be a difficult task. It did not take long for Samantha to fit right in with the boys. Her talent earned her the respect that she deserved. This year was a huge success for Samantha as she qualified for the girls' individual WPIL finals at Three Lakes Golf Course. While she was disappointed in her performance in the finals, Coach Nonnenberg was extremely proud of her. For a freshman to earn a spot in the finals is a huge accomplishment. Congratulations, Samantha, and the best of luck in the future. Congratulations again. Also, 6 of the 12 golfers earned honor roll status for the fall grading season. So next we have Coach Ayanta for the cross-country team.
First of all, I'd like to thank the board for enabling us to recognize these fine student athletes. Seriously, after being around for a while, they always represent Plum very, very proudly. And I think, as a board and as a district, it speaks volumes, for the athletes and the students that we have in our district. And again, I appreciate you giving us the opportunity to recognize not only the cross-country, but Coach Sacco and the football team, who has done an outstanding job for the the situations that they are dealing with regards to the sections. But I congratulate them also. Like to also thank the administration. Dr. Glasspool and his staff, Mr. Alpino for being able to enable us to do the things that we were able to do. Without their help, there's no way that our program could have gotten to the place that it's gotten to now. So again, we appreciate that also. I want to thank my coaches, especially Coach Max. Coach Max has been coaching now for 54 years, I think, and that's just a tribute to him and his dedication to the athletes that we have. And last but not least, I want to thank the special athletes that I have in the cross-country team. They do a whole lot more than running the hills and vales of Boyce Park. They've shown to me that truly they've learned life skills, and they're really out to help others. And it's just a neat feeling that you can coach the kids like that. And again, it's been an honor and privilege to do that. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about the season, and I would like to say that our greatest accomplishment didn't occur on the cross-country courses. We had 52 individuals that ran cross-country this year. 47 were honor students, 39 were scholar athletes, and we had over 28 students with a 4.0 on our cross-country team. Again, that speaks volumes for them. They didn't follow their coach in that aspect. But no, seriously, it's just outstanding to be part of students, athletes like that. With regards to the season, I thought it was an outstanding season. The girls were arguably, and this is because of some situations that they had, the girls were 8-5, or 8-4. The boys were 10-3, and came close to doing some really amazing things. They finished 7th in the WPIL and came very, very close to qualifying an entire team for the states. And that's who we have right now. Have 2 of our state qualifiers, and not only were they state qualifiers, from the stats that we have, these 2 young runners had the highest places in the WPIL of any Plum cross-country runner. Jake Susela. Jake was real special. This is his first year of running cross-country. In that time, he started out running about 20 minutes. At the WPIL qualifier, he went under 17, finished 16th in the WPIL, and we're not trying to put any pressure on him, but he was the top freshman place winner at the WPIL, and he was 3rd in the state. So I really believe his future has some great things to be looked at. So Jake Susela. And now our junior representative, Alan Yaka. Alan has been running 3 years, and the neat thing about Alan, he's kind of like moved to that next level. Alan had our sophomore record for the 800, and most people thought that he was, a quote sprinter type person. Well, he moved to that next level, finished 18th in the WPIL, and we're looking for some big things for him in the track season. And last but not least, about these 2, both of them had over a 4.0 in QPA. So they're not only outstanding runners, but truly outstanding in the classroom, and I appreciate them. And again, I'd like to thank the board for giving us the opportunity to recognize these 2 fine young student athletes from the Plum School District. Thank you very much.
And lastly, we have Coach Sacco for the football team.
I too want to thank the school board for letting us come here and present our kids with these awards tonight. I want to congratulate Mr. Ianta for making the Hall of Fame this year, for the Plum Hall of Fame, and always for giving me great advice. And congratulations to your team this year, Coach. I know this season was tough, one loss record-wise, but I was proud to coach this football team. We had some great kids. They came practice hard every week, did everything we asked of them. There was very few, if any, discipline problems whatsoever. And they did a tremendous job representing the school and the community. And I know our one-loss record wasn't what we wanted it to be, but I just thought they handled themselves with dignity and class and represented our school the way it should be represented. I want to start off with the two gentlemen that are here tonight. We have four altogether. The first one, Jay Major, number 12. He was second team all-conference defensive back. He had 53 tackles, 2 behind the line, 2 interceptions, and 5 passes defensed. Jay pretty much played every position on the field for us this year. He's a kick returner, punt returner. He had an 86-yard kickoff return in our last game. And he played some quarterback, wide receiver, but he really shined for us at D-back this year. Second team all-conference, Jay Major. Our next gentleman, Liam Chip Kress, lineman, number 77. He has honorable mention all-conference at offensive tackle. That's saying a lot for this conference because there was, believe it or not, Chip's a pretty big boy, but there are some really big boys in this conference. And Chip earned with getting honorable mention this season. Number 77, Chip Kress. Two gentlemen that couldn't make it tonight. Our first one was our first team all-conference, our only one this year. Dylan Condis, number 33. He was our punter. He had an 86-yard punt against Pine Richlands, which is pretty amazing. He had over a 40-yard average and 50 yards on a bunch of other punts. Became very good for us with directional punts and was our kicker also. Just did a tremendous job punting for us this year. Number 33, Dylan Condis. And our fourth player, Jake DeGilio, was a second-team all-conference linebacker. He made some type of all-conference 3 years in a row. He had 80, led our team in tackles with 79, had 8 behind the line, and I believe 2 sacks. Jake was a hard worker and a good student, and just a positive role model for the whole team. Number 21, Jake DeGilio. I also want to thank Mr. Alpado, Mr. Casella, Mr. Wolf for their help and everything they've done for us and their support this year. And once again, I know the one-loss record wasn't what we wanted to be, but I thought these kids did a tremendous job working through things and representing our school. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. And just a side note, 34 of the 44 football players earned a 3.0 or better, and 23 of the 34 earned 3.5 or higher. Overall, for the fall grading period, 203 of the 277 athletes at the high school made the honor roll. This is an amazing 73%. 158 of them, or 57%, earned 3.5 or higher. So congratulations again to all of you, and I appreciate all the hard work you showed this fall. Thank you.
At this time, we'll entertain citizen comments on agenda items. Citizen comments on non-agenda items. Okay, if the students would like to leave in order to study, feel free before we start the agenda.
J.R. Pillock, Sun Valley Drive. I'm here on behalf of the Plum teachers and would like to take a moment to thank everyone in the community of Plum, as well as in the district, that helped make the second annual festival in the park a success. This year we had over 200 kids attend on a soggy day at Boyce Park, enjoying the games and taking part in our costume parade. This event would never be possible without the financial support of people and businesses around this community. We'd like to thank Sean Logan and our event sponsor, UPMC, our parade sponsors, the Mayor Richard Rivback, Nesbitt's Lanes, and Chatlow's Family Dentistry. A special thanks to the class of 1985, who came together and solicited donations across the country to help out the Beilstein family. Also, thank you to Pat McAfee for his generosity. And thank you to the local band, our students from Adelaide and O Block, who took their time and performed for everyone in attendance, the Shock Puppets. Again, thank you to the school district's secretaries, the aides, the administration, the PTAs, and anyone else who helped make it such a great event. It was truly amazing to see the entire community of Plum come together to not only honor the lives of Kim and Brenna and Michaela Griffith, but help out Justin Beilstein and his family. We hope this festival will continue for years to come, just like Sugar Plum Days and Community Days. We were able to raise $8,763 for the Beilstein Children Memorial Fund. And if anyone in the community would still like to make a contribution, they can go to any S&T Bank location. And for more information, you can visit our website at plumteachers.org to find out what's going on for next year. Again, we can't say enough about this community of Plum, and they never cease to amaze us. I'm sure Mr. Griffith and Mr. Beilstein would say the same. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And while I'm up here, I'd also like to take a moment to invite everyone to Sugar Plum Days. It's another great community event. It's something that the teachers, the administration, everyone in the district comes together and shows why Plum is what it is. So please come join us between December 8th and the 15th, and more information will be coming home with your children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your comments.
Any additional citizen comments on non-agenda items? The agenda, please.
Facilities Committee, Mr. Shane McMaster's chair. Recommend approval to accept the following use of facilities applications as listed 1 through 8.
On behalf of the committee, I'll make that recommendation.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Recommend approval to accept the annual inspection service agreement with Schindler Elevator for the elevator at Pivot Elementary School in the amount of $852.
On behalf of the committee, I'll make that recommendation.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Recommend approval to accept the Accent Electronic System Integrators for emergency repair work to the PHS Auditorium Sound System in the amount of $17,135.
On behalf of the committee, I'll make that recommendation.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Recommend approval to advertise for a request for proposal to develop a practice field at Pivot Elementary School.
On behalf of the committee, I'll make that recommendation.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Recommend approval to accept a bid from Pugliano Construction Incorporated for the Plum High School Event Overflow Parking Project in the amount of $45,735.
On behalf of the committee, I'll make the recommendation.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I think it's worth noting that we're putting in this additional overflow parking because we have a serious parking problem with the roadways on the back side of the high school. And people park on the roads, and it's an impediment to emergency vehicles being able to get through. A fire truck, when cars are parked there, can't get through. So this will give them a place to park off, and then we've been having discussions with the borough about enforcing a fire lane, no parking in the future, so that our emergency vehicles can get to where they need to in the high school in the case of an emergency. Any additional discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Recommend approval to pay the Pivot Elementary construction invoice and Nello pay applications 19 and 20 as presented.
On behalf of the committee, I'll make that recommendation.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Recommend approval to accept the Nello change order number 49 through 54 for a net cost of $10,721.36.
On behalf of the committee, I'll make that recommendation.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The Facilities Committee met on November 5th, 2012. Mr. McMasters will make this report.
I do not have anything additional to report, Dr. Glasspool. Thank you.
Thank you. The next meeting is scheduled for December 11th, 2012, immediately following the Transportation Committee in the high school boardroom. Personnel Committee, Mr. Sal Colella, Chair. Recommend retroactive approval to accept the following retirements. Mrs. Barbara Locke, paraprofessional, effective November 5th. Ms. Lisa Munzik, paraprofessional, effective November 5th. Mr. Nick Carlsano, bus driver, effective November 6, 2012.
I'll make that recommendation to the board.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Recommend approval to hire Ms. Ingrid Strasnig, bus driver, effective November 28, 2012, at the contracted rate.
I'll make that recommendation to the board.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Recommend approval to appoint to rate of Ms. Caitlin Schucker, recalled math teacher at Plum High School, retroactive to October 24 through November 21, 2012, at her 2012-13 contracted per diem rate.
I'll make that recommendation to the board.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Recommend approval of maternity leave of Ms. Kirsten Vinton, kindergarten teacher at Center Elementary School, beginning on or about May 15, 2013 through May 13, 2014.
I'll make that recommendation to the board.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Recommend approval of the agreement between the Plum Borough School District Educational Secretaries, ESP, PSEA, NEA, and the Plum Borough School District, retroactive to July 1, 2011 through June 30th, 2014.
I'll make that recommendation to the board.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Drake, just a few comments. I remember growing up in junior high, I read that classic, A Tale of Two Cities. This agreement is a tale of two contracts. And sometimes it takes a third party to thread the needle for success to bring two parties together. And I'm glad that we did that and we understand what everything means to everybody right now. I'm not going to talk a lot about the contents of the agreement. You can read about that. But it gives the board some flexibility in doing things, and we're able to do things without compromising our duties as a board, and certainly the administrative assistants compromising their guiding principles. These are a good group of people that come to work and work hard every day, so I greatly appreciate that. There's been some confusion about salary increases for these folks. I guess people can read about it in the papers, a couple times. But as a board level, collective bargaining agreements are collective bargaining costs. We aggregate those costs. And I'm not saying that this contract is equal for all administrative assistants, but when you look at it specifically on what the hours, number of hours worked, and the cost for the district per hour, it's pretty it's pretty substantial moving forward. The first year, there was a 36-cent increase overall per hour for these folks. The second year, there's a 77-cent increase per hour for these folks. In the third year, there's $1.24 per hour. And I'm not saying that everybody this is all equal throughout the contract personnel, but clearly when you aggregate the cost at the board level, which we do, we look at the total dollars expenditures divided by the number of hours worked. It's a good agreement, and I'm going to urge the board to move it forward. We've spent a lot of time on it. We've did a lot of analysis on that. I'm going to thank Mr. Marasini for doing all the work that I've asked of him. He's done a tremendous job, and Mr. Brewer. So that being said, I think we should vote on it.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
I'd just like to thank Sal for all the time he put into to dealing with this contract, and knows a lot of time and effort on his part, so I appreciate the work that he's done.
Yeah, he's been at the high school long enough to get a second diploma.
But it's a good group of people, and like I said, we didn't have to look at our fiduciary responsibilities from the board level, and we certainly didn't want to compromise their guiding principles as employees. They're a good group of people, and I think the winner on this is the taxpayers and the students and the administrative staff, because they work hard, and they know this school district. They know the school district better than probably I know this school district. So I do thank them, and I think that this contract is indicative of what they do for the district.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Education Committee, Mr. Joe Tomarello, Chair. Recommend approval of the following overnight field trip and conference request. Center's 6th grade Washington, D.C. trip, April 25 through 28, 2013. Missy Kokowski, the Pete and C Expo at Hershey, Pennsylvania, February 11th through the 12th, 2013.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Recommend approval to dispose of unused textbook as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Recommend approval to accept the voluntary informal dispositions for student A and student B as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Recommend approval to accept the settlement agreements and releases for student C and student D pending final solicitor's approval.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
The Education Committee met on November 5th, 2012. Mr. Tomarello will make this report.
Thank you. Not really much to discuss in this report, just the fact that I would like to mention that we discussed very thoroughly the high school and beyond charter school possibility that we had with Penn Hills and Gateway. A majority of the board members in committee decided that we should not move forward with it, and it wasn't a good suit for the district, and so we are not going to move forward with that charter school. Other than that, that's all I have to report.
Thank you. The next meeting is scheduled for December 4th, 2012, immediately following the Athletic Committee in the high school boardroom. Finance Committee, Mr. Kevin Dowdell, Chair. Recommend approval of the Treasurer's Report and bill payments for October 2012 as presented.
On behalf of the committee, I'd like to make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Delinquent real estate taxes and fees collected by Andrews and Price for October 2012. Total amount collected, $75,787.57. Recommend approval to renew the resolution to participate in the AIU Joint Purchasing Board with Mr. Michael Brewer as a regular board member and Mr. Eugene Marasini as the alternate member.
On behalf of the committee, I'd like to make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to briefly mention that this board combines the purchasing of schools' materials such as paper and other things with our neighboring districts to help reduce costs to the districts involved.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Recommend approval to dispose of 3 unused and obsolete school buses used for parts only to be sold at an estimated scrap value of $3,000.
On behalf of the committee, I'd like to make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Recommend approval to pay the final OSEP premium payment of $13,754 to the Willis Group.
On behalf of the committee, I'd like to make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Recommend approval to engage a real estate appraiser to review the appraisal report for accuracy and determine value of Oakmont Country Club for real estate tax assessment.
On behalf of the committee, I'd like to make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, one of the reasons we're doing this is because Oakmont Country Club, most of it is in Plum Borough, and a country club is kind of difficult to assess. It's not like a normal business or a residential home or something like that. So, you know, it's kind of difficult to assess this, so that's why we're going out to get the appraisal of this property, so we can get an accurate taxing value for the property.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I just want to know, do we have any idea how much this is going to cost us to appraise it, or are we going out for RFPs, or, I'm sorry, I missed the meeting.
I think it's $150
We're
an hour.
using the appraiser that assists us in most of these kind of cases, and it's $150 an hour.
Okay.
And he's not going to be doing a formal appraisal report, he's going to be reviewing the data we already gathered.
Okay.
I believe the expected amount is quite considerable, but at this point, we really don't know what the final amount's going to be, but I think it's going to be significant to the district.
Well, not the appraiser fee.
Well, not the fee, but
The value of the property.
Yes, yes.
Yes, remember, this was an appeal filed by the country club challenging their current assessment. They're seeking a substantial reduction.
Okay, so then we'll take what the appraisal says, or is this kind of a program?
We'll use his information to deal with
Negotiate.
with opposing this assessment appeal, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Recommend approval to participate in the AIU-sponsored First Energy Friends and Family Initiative.
On behalf of the committee, I'd like to make that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, this is a plan where the school district will receive $10 for any participant in this plan. So if you sign up for the First Energy, the school district will receive $10. It's no cost to the district or to the individuals, so any individuals or businesses, you know, we encourage you to sign up for this plan. We're going to have details on the district website. Is it up there yet? Or
After we approve it, we'll get it.
after you approve it? Okay. So we would encourage anybody in the borough to sign up for this program because it will benefit the district. Also, if you're an employee of Plum Borough and live in another community, you can still sign up and designate Plum Borough as the recipient of the $10. So we'd appreciate it if you do that as well.
Any other discussion?
I just wanted to add, this is what we had talked about, I think, a couple of months ago in the AIU report. And we as a district take no liability. We have no liability. So this is just, you know, as somebody would designate our school district, we don't incur any liability if they're not getting proper service or anything like that. So it's a win-win situation for our district and the AIU.
I also want to mention that I did some research on how much all these different energy companies charge, and First Energy really is a deal. So I think, besides the fact that we're going to be getting something out of it, I think those people who sign up also will, because it's probably the best deal of all.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
The Finance Committee met on November 13th, 2012. Mr. Del will make this report.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Muscatello attended the facilities meeting this month to discuss the refinancing of the Series 2006 bonds. The final total savings of the refinancing of these bonds was $1,074,919.37. We're very pleased with that amount. We gave Mr. Muscatello the go-ahead if it exceeded $1 million, which it did by over $74,000. These funds will be available on December 20th and will be deposited in a capital reserve fund. Also, our outstanding bonds, currently, this is principal only, is $95,005,000. Our remaining borrowing capacity is $22,203,372.50. A 2011-12 audit update. The revenues were $293,299 higher than was budgeted, and the expenditures were $217,650 less than budgeted. This added $510,949 to the year-end fund balance, making it $3,370,500 remaining in the fund balance. We also had a report from the Healthcare Consortium. They're projecting a 10 to 15% increase in premiums over the next year. The district used a 5% increase in the projection for the 2013-14 budget. So this may add an additional $500,000 to our deficit for the 2013-14 budget. So that would probably increase it to approximately $3.6 million in a deficit we'll be looking at over the next year's budget. Also, the county reassessments, the district needs to budget for commercial and industrial reassessment cases. However, this time we don't have the information on how many or the projected results, so we're waiting for the county reassessment information. Also, the district is waiting for the state to reimburse us for the new pivot through the plan calling process. So we're hoping to get that reimbursement soon. Finally, I read this morning the PSBA reported that the state is dealing with an unfunded $41 billion state pension obligation, which is largely unfunded, and this will have a significant impact on our future budgets. I estimated that the next year's budget, the pension increase will be approximately 40% over the current year. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin, can I just add one thing? I spent some time looking at the Pennsylvania state revenues, and actually compared the actual to the estimate on their website, and their increase is only 0.2%.
0.2%.
So that may give us some idea of how our budgeting process is going to go.
Yeah. It's not good news. You don't have too much good news. So we're just hoping something good happens in the near future.
Thank you. The next meeting is scheduled for December 11th, 2012, immediately following the Facilities Committee meeting in the high school boardroom. Policy Committee, Mr. Rich Zuko, Chair. Recommend approval to accept policy number 123.2, sudden cardiac arrest, as presented.
On behalf of the committee, I'd like to make that motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The Policy Committee met on November 5th, 2012. The next meeting is scheduled for December 4th, 2012, following the Education Committee meeting in the high school boardroom. Transportation Committee, Mr. Tom McGuff, Chair. The Transportation Committee did not meet this month. The committee is scheduled to meet on December 11th, 2012, at 6:00 p.m. in the high school boardroom. Athletic Committee, Mr. John St. Ledger, Chair. Recommend approval to hire the following spring coaches for the 2012-13 school year as listed.
On behalf of the committee, I'd like to make that recommendation.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Recommend approval to accept the following volunteer coaches for the 2012-13 school year as presented.
On behalf of the committee, I'd like to make that recommendation as well.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
The athletic committee did not meet this month. The committee is scheduled to meet on December 4th, 2012 at 6:00 p.m. in the high school boardroom. Food Service and Nutrition Committee, Mrs. Loretta White, Chair. The Food Service and Nutrition Committee did not meet this month. Mrs. White, do you have a report?
Yeah, I just have one very quick announcement. There's been a slight change to our website, so if anybody's having difficulty accessing the lunch menu, what you do is look on the left-hand side, and what you need to do is click on the link that says Parents. And once you get into that, then on the left-hand side also, you'll find a link that says lunch menus and also one that says food service. So you can find the lunch menu on either of those links. So, just a very slight change, but sometimes it's hard to find since it's not under food service, it's under parents. Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Intergovernmental Committee, Mr. John St. Ledger, Chair. The Intergovernmental Committee met on November 15th, 2012. Forbes Road Career and Technology Center, Mr. John St. Ledger, Representative. Mr. St. Ledger will make this report.
Yes, thank you. We did meet in November, and actually I attended the advisory committee meeting on November the 6th. We had over 230 people from the community and prospective students attend, so that was obviously well attended. We also attended the Health Career Fair in conjunction with CCAC Boys Campus. That was well attended as well. And lastly, Forbes Road, in conjunction with a few of the people on the board, were able to get approved for 3 great idea grants. The three together totaled over $11,000. So Plum was, we were a very important part of those grants. So we can take pride in that in the community. That's it.
Thank you. Eastern Area Schools, Mrs. Loretta White, Representative. Recommend approval to accept the Eastern Area Special Schools Budget Resolution number 2012-1 for vote via mail ballot, and resolution number 2012-2 to approve the 2012-13 budget.
I'll make that recommendation.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Actually, all I want to say is it is already budgeted, the amount of money that we have to. Pardon me?
Yes.
Yes.
They didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to say that it's already in our budget, so.
Well, we want to make sure, this is a roll call, but we want to make sure.
Okay, well, you said any discussion, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying that it's already budgeted.
Thank
Am I
you.
allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Zuko is absent. Mr. Palumbo? Mr. Dowdell?
Yes.
Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. McMasters?
Yes.
Mr. St. Ledger?
Yes.
Mr. Tom Morello?
Yes.
Mrs. White?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. White, do you have a report this evening?
No, the meeting was canceled, and our next meeting will not be until January 24th.
Thank you. Legislative Policy Council, Mr. Sal Cole, Representative. There will be no report this evening. Allegheny Intermediate Unit Number 3, Mr. Tom McGuff, Board Member. Mr. McGuff will make this report.
I have 3 items that I'd like to bring to our board's attention and to the community's attention. First was a lunch and learn hosted by Dr. Michael Brinkos that our district was one of the districts that attended. A wonderful program, and it covered the topics of PRISMA, TIMS, and teacher and principal effectiveness. So nice to see that we participate in these wonderful events. The second item is that the Center for Creativity is hard at work developing the Transform Ed. And this is a digital playground for teachers, and this space will be equipped with new technology for teacher exploration and discovery. The space will launch on February 6th, 2013, which is also the National Digital Learning Day. And then finally, just to look ahead on the calendars, 2 dates that we need to look at as a district. The board president, vice president, superintendent dinner will be at the Rivers Club on Thursday, January 13th, of course, 2013, and the AIU annual convention at the Rivers Club on Wednesday, April 3rd, 2013. So 2 dates to mark on the calendar. Thank you so much.
Thank you. President's report, Mr. Andrew Drake. Mr. Drake will make this report.
Thank you. November was a busy month with parent-teachers conferences, Veterans Day programs, beginning of our second grading term, the conclusion of fall sports, and the senior high class play, MASH. December will be an equally busy month. December 3rd through 14th is grades 7 through 12 CDT testing. December 8th is the high school ACT test. December 11th is the Plum High School choral concert. December 12th is the Plum High band concert. December 18th is the O-Block Strings Concert, and December 20th is the O-Block's Chorus Concert. The winter recess begins on December 24th and ends on January 1st, with school beginning again on Wednesday, January 2nd. With the winter weather approaching, please review the winter safety letter and school cancellation and delay procedures, which are posted on our webpage. Also, please sign up for our electronic Mustang to receive text and email alerts and emergency information. Last month, we failed to mention in our October meeting that the board received the 2012 demographic study from Shelby Struman, and a presentation from him was made on October 18th. Congratulations to the Plum Council, the Borough Manager, and the Police Department for their efforts in making Plum Borough the 6th safest city in the United States, as determined by Neighborhood Scouts. Also a reminder that December 7th is Pearl Harbor Day. Hanukkah begins on December 9th. December 21st is the winter solstice, the first day of winter. December is also International Safe Toys and Gifts Month, Young Children's Safe Toys and Gifts Month, Seasonal Depression Month, and National Drunk and Drugged Driving Prevention Month. Thank you.
I understand the Mayan calendar is supposed to end on December 21st as well.
I heard someplace that they found another extension.
Extension to that?
Actually may go longer.
That'll be Lucy and my anniversary, so I'm hoping that they're off on that.
So you're not buying anything?
No.
I have a friend who's having a big dinner. She says that might be their last meal.
And also, as you've noticed, we've had a few winter snow flurries out there, so this is a good time to check the tires on your cars and make sure you have sufficient tread to get you through the winter, as well as making sure your car is winterized and you check your fluids, your windshield wipers, so that you have safe driving this winter.
Thank you. Superintendent's report. Recommend approval to accept the superintendent's report as submitted.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
A discussion session is scheduled for Tuesday, December 4th, 2012, immediately following the policy committee in the high school boardroom. The regular December board meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, December 18th, 2012, at 7 p.m. here in the Plum High School auditorium.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
I have a motion to adjourn. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.